What's up YouTube, Gaming'sbro here, and for this video we have a first impressions of a new anime which just started on Crunchyroll about 4 weeks or so ago. And it is called Kamigami no Asobi, which has a very interesting concept, and the first episode sort of almost has a similarity to another anime which is very good. And I'll explain what that is in a second. First off, let's talk about the principal storyline. The idea is that gods and humans have to go to school together. The gods have to basically learn our way of life and the way we exist on this planet. They are forced to go because the head god, Zeus, basically had made it so that they have to learn our ways, and they have to do it within a time limit. 1 year. 1 year to learn everything. Sounds like fun, don't it? Or they're stuck forever in the garden that Zeus created. Now, our lead character is named Yui Kusanagi. She got stuck in this whole mess because, well, let's start from the beginning. She is I want to say high school student, and her family runs a Shinto shrine. Pretty awesome, right? She is also a expert swordsman, because she's been learning that ever since she was little. Now, the idea that she lives on a shrine might draw comparisons to a certain anime. Well, one day, while she was coming home and she was getting ready to help her parents out with the shrine, she heard a voice. The voice led to a storage area that was on the premise. When she went there, she found a glowing sword, and when she touched it, well, she ended up in said garden that I mentioned. Now, if the concept sounds a little bit like Inuyasha, it kinda is. And for those of you who are old enough to remember Inuyasha, do you remember when Kamigami fell down the well and popped up in feudal Japan? Yeah, almost the same idea here. And I do mean it's almost the same idea. In this case, the person touched a sword and then got magically transported to a sky garden to basically hang out with gods. I'm sorry, I actually like that gig, now that I think about it. The cast of characters that we have, from Apollo to Hades to Sakuto to Balder, who's like my favorite of them all because he's a fucking klutz. He's like the comic relief character, which I always love a good comic relief in series that deserve it, and this one definitely needs it, I think, a little bit. The variety of the characters always is something that I look for when I look at animes like this. And this one has them. From characters that are slightly depressing but turn into comic relief, to ones that are just comic relief, maybe the ones that are just straight hard asses to begin with, whatever. It's stuff like that that makes you just appreciate these series, and this one's no exception. We watched the first 3 episodes. The first episode was actually, of the 3, I want to say the worst. But I say that only because, okay, unless you had an idea in your head what each of the gods look like, or was going to look like in this series, you wouldn't know which one was which because they don't tell you outright from the beginning of the first episode or when the first actual meeting happens in the garden. I, while I was watching the series, had to make sure that I had the wiki open, which I do right now, so I know which character was matched up, what name was matched up with which character. Which one was Hades, which one was Takuto, which one was Loki, which one was Apollo, Apollo and Balder were the two easy ones. Everybody else I take that back. Apollo, Balder, and Hades, they were like the three easy ones. Everybody else I had to figure out which one was Loki and which one was, Takuto. Anyway, the idea was pretty badass. So far, like I said, the story in the first episode is kind of but in the second and third episodes, it's gotten better. But I kind of wonder this also. So they have a year, but it almost seems like they're going with the episodes. That can be a problem because one of my big things about story pacing is you don't want to rush it and make the person go, wait, what was the story of this again? I mean, Brothers Conflict, when we get to that one, here's an example of good story pacing. They may give you almost all the characters within like the first episode. There's a couple I think they leave out. But they do it in a way so that you get to know the characters and their names are embedded in your head. The same thing happened in Unibreak. They gave you all the characters up front and gradually through the series, because of the fact that you got to know them, their names became embedded in your mind. The issue with this series, even though you met virtually all the principal characters already, they didn't really introduce you until episode 2. That's like one of the big issues I have. Because you want to be able to know who the characters are from the start. You don't have to wait basically until episode 2 to go, okay, who is everybody? Although Balder was actually hysterical to me because when he met Yui for the first time, he walks up to her and was like, "Hi, how you doing?" And fell right on his backside. I cracked up laughing. You didn't know what to expect. But he was skooky, he was silly. Apollo, he's an interesting one. Because like I said, he's a free spirit, but he's also determined. Like, he wants to, have fun, but he also knows that shit's serious, and in order for them to get their powers back, and for you to be able to go home, everybody has to graduate. Because that's one of the conditions. In order for them to get their powers back, and for you to go home, everybody has to graduate. And they have only 1 year, 365 days to do it. The problem with Zeus controlling things, that 365 days, that can be as quick as he wants it to be. We also met, now I should mention this by the way, I don't think I have yet. We cover 4 different areas of mythology, okay? Greek, Japanese, Norse, Egyptian. Those are the 4 areas. First off, I didn't even know there was such a thing as Egyptian mythology. And I damn sure didn't know there was Japanese mythology. So that was really interesting to find out. Because, interesting fact, when I was in school, one of my favorite subjects was mythology. and it's something we actually had to learn. But I never knew, because they never taught us, I don't think, that there was an Egyptian mythology. We knew Greek and Roman, but they never taught us when I was in Catholic school about the Egyptian or the Japanese. So, that was definitely a, By the way, here's a fun one. The teacher is the Egyptian god. His name is Thoth. I thought it was Thor for some reason. No, it's Thoth. Thoth, I believe it's spelled. So, where am I on the first 3 episodes? It's an interesting show to watch, and it's actually not bad. The first episode might be a little hard to follow because you don't really know, outside of the lead character, who many of the characters are, because they're not introduced properly. You see like the character portrait of them, but you don't really meet them yet until the second episode. But it's very much interesting to see how they cope with going to school with humans, because it's not just the guys going to school. There's other humans trapped in this garden, and in order for them to leave, they have to graduate with the gods. That's the rule that Zeus set. Zeus is the head boy. So, for first impressions, we don't grade them, but I will tell you that you should be checking this series out. It airs every Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. That's 10 p.m. Pacific. 10 a.m. Pacific. And that's 2:30 p.m. Newfoundland time. For my newfies out there who are anime fans. I should also tell you, by the way, for those interested, if you have an Apple television, the Crunchyroll service is available now on that particular device. So, by all means, if you want to get your Crunchyroll on and you want to watch it on that. Anywho, you all have a great evening, and when I see you, it'll be tomorrow night after we bump and spike our way through Haiku's first couple episodes. Until then, my friends, you have a great evening. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.